Okay, hello and welcome back to World of Elevators, where we build multi-floor elevators that are slightly different. And that's exactly what we're doing again today after not turning up for 3 weeks or something. So, anyway, yep, multi-floor water elevator version 3. Well, I mean it's 4 if you include the original one, but we don't talk about that. Okay, so the problem with the previous version of the elevator is you'd have to reset it every time. So, say I set myself to go to floor 3, then, well, I mean this is illustrating the problem because this isn't floor 3, this is floor 2. Because the block from floor 2 is still out, so I have to reset it. Then I press the floor 3 one, and then I can go up to floor 3. But then if I wanted to go up to floor 4 now, well, the floor 3 is still there. So I have to reset it, and I have to then press floor 4, and then it can go up. So, very annoying. But what I realised is, when you press these buttons, the signal gets sent through all the floors that you'd go to. So if I was going to floor 1 from floor 4, then we have this signal that goes down through a door and an observer and more stuff, right? We'll go through 3, through 2, and then down to 1, and then this block comes out to pull me down, so I can walk out. So because the redstone signal goes through all the floors I'd go through in the water, that means you can grab it from the back. I just have to add more observers, because before I tried to make it as fast as possible by using blocks and these doors, and that's because the observer aiming down into the door, well, that's a way faster way of sending the signal down, because this door will instantly set off an observer aiming down below it. Whereas normally you'd have like 2 observers. So that's more delay, so I tried to make it as fast as possible. I mean, to be fair, but in order to have enough delay for the reset bit to go off, I had to add more. So that's what this is here. It's just full of observers. These ones are up, these ones are down, and it's kind of a repeating pattern. So as you can see, there's aiming down here and aiming up here. But then when we go up to the next floor, there's now 2 aiming down, and then the rest are up. And if we go up to the next floor, there's 3 aiming down and 2 aiming up, etc. And the way we activate this is when you right click the note blocks, it triggers these observers, and that triggers the trapdoors, and those will trigger the observers either going up or down, depending on if the floor is above or below you. And to stop you going up, you just push a block out. So a magma block, so ignoring that I've put a bunch of stuff out. So you'd either get pulled down from the top, or if you're coming from the bottom, this soul sand will push you up, and you'll get stopped by the block at the right floor. So that does mean that your floors have to be 5 blocks high like this, plus an extra block for the floor of the next one. But it was just so you can make this very easy multi-floor elevator, because instead of having some crazy redstone logic at the back, you just have lines of observers going to the floor you want. So it's a lot easier than sort of previous things, and I'm very happy with that. So it is my own design. Someone else might have done it first, to be fair, because that happens a lot, but with this one, this is actually my own stuff. So how do you build it? So in previous redstone videos, I was a mad lad and actually worked out how many resources you need, but I really can't be bothered, so I'll just sort of go some of the resources you need. So on every floor, you've got the same amount of note blocks, as in buttons, as the amount of floors you have. So I do 5, so we've got 5 note blocks, and then you need that as many floors you have times, because you need to do that on every floor. So that means if I've got 5 floors, I need 25 note blocks, because that's 5 times 5. If I had 6 floors, I need 36, because that's 6 times 6. If you had 10 floors, you need 100. You know, kind of get crazy. You're going to need a absolutely stupid amount of observers. So I know, just make observers, and if you run out, make some more observers. So trapdoors, actually, they're easy. So editing me here, I got the amount of trapdoors completely wrong. You actually need the amount of floors you got times 2, and you have to do that for every floor. Editing me here, editing me was wrong. You don't have to do this to the top floor, so it's 2 times the amount of floors trapdoors for every floor, except on the top floor, you only have the amount of floors, number of trapdoors. So there you go. For the observers, like I said, there's 5 for each floor just on this bit. Then you've also got some sticking out of the back. So 5 times the amount of floors you got, then times again by the amount of floors you got, and then plus a bunch extra at the back. So it's going to be a lot. Every floor we have a repeater. So if I've got 5 floors, I just need 5 repeaters. I'm going to need a bunch of redstone dust. Look, if you're building redstone stuff like this, you should just have a crazy amount of redstone dust available. So I'm not going to count. For every floor, you need 2 doors, except you only need 1 on the top floor. You don't even need 1, you can just do a hole, but this just makes it look nice. And you're going to need a sticky piston and a magma block for every floor. So just 1 sticky piston, 1 magma block for every floor. I mean, actually, you only need -1 because you don't do 1 at the top. The top is just you zoop up the water with the soul sand and walk out. And then to keep some water in, I do stairs. You could also just use blocks around it, but stairs mean you can make it 1 block less wide. So every floor 2 stairs, except for the top one, and then a bunch of blocks and water. And you'll need a soul sand to put at the bottom as well. So 1 soul sand. The space you'll need for this is 5 blocks across, and then 3 blocks plus the amount of floors you have wide. And then each floor takes up 6 blocks because you've got 5 blocks of height plus the blocks that make up the floor or ceiling. So it's going to be 5 by 3 add amount of floors by 6 times the amount of floors high. So that's how much space you're going to need. Okay, so for the main up bit, we're just going to do some walls. So we go like this, but then we'll add a middle bit and then do some more wall, and then we'll put doors in between and open them while you're facing opposite directions. There we go. And what we do is on this middle bit, on either side, we put stairs aiming into the middle like that, and then there's glass underneath that, so I guess we'll do our floor here. Our soul sand goes at the bottom behind the door because that's where the water's going to be pushing us up, and your next floor is going to be above this thing, so it'll be like here. Then we'll fill in these blocks as well, so more glass around the outside, and then at the back we do some glass, but the third block up, we've got a magma block, then a sticky piston aiming at that to push it in and out. And then we need blocks on the other side of the stairs to stop the water getting out. And this entire thing is going to be full of water, and we also need water in the stairs. Like that. Forgot the glass at the back, whoops. So here we're just doing water on the entire thing, and then we're at our next floor. Like so. And then if you filled in all the water fine, you should get pushed up. And also, if you fill in the block where the magma block gets pushed to, which is where the stairs are, so like that, and delete it, then the water from the stairs should have filled back in, so you can still go up. And then we just repeat this for every floor. So the pattern is you do 2 blocks up like this, and a door to hold the water in, but so you can walk out as well. Then there's the middle bit, and there you have your magma block with a sticky piston. Then you need blocks either side to stop water getting out from these stairs, and then blocks on the other side for the same reason. That's the middle. Another door on top to stop water getting out, and glass around. I mean, you don't actually need this glass at the front. I've just realised that is not doing anything, but I don't know, completeness, I guess. You can also do things like fence gates, so you can, instead of your door, you can have 2 fence gates like this and just open them so you can walk out. So that's an alternative way of doing it. I guess I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to copy this for like 5 floors, but just a reminder, you go up, ceiling. So that is your next floor up. And then the final one, you don't need anything, but just to make it look complete, I'll do a little exit like this. And then we need to fill in all our water. Okay, so now we've done the floors, we'll do the buttons, which are note blocks. Okay, so if we go to the middle where the door is, so here, we can start doing our buttons. So we'll just do as many as we have floors. So I have 5 floors, so I've done 5 note blocks, and then we have to do that on every floor. Like so. Now obviously on the top floor we don't really need a top floor button, same for the other floors, but I just put them there for sort of continuity. I guess it's also a way to check what floor you're on. If you press a note block and it activates the one you're on, then you're at that floor. But I guess you could save some observers by avoiding that. But what we do is we go around the back of these note blocks, which you might have called observers at one point, and you put some observers sticking out the back like this. So we've got 5 of them. And we do that on every floor. And I don't need to put one going out the top one when we're at the top. I guess I will just for continuity, but then we do trapdoors, and the trapdoors will set off the other sets of observers we have. So that's what they're for. Okay, now starting at the bottom floor, we're going to have a pattern. So to go up to the next floor from the bottom one. So obviously, if we're at the first floor and we press the first floor, we don't need to send a signal anywhere. But if we are on any floor above, we need to send a signal down to it. So if we're on second floor and want to get to first floor, then our observers are going to aim down to go to first floor. But for the other floors, we need to do a signal going up, because this would be like, I'm at the bottom, I want to go second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. I need to send a signal up to those floors so that I get sent to them. So that's why these are going up, and the first one is aiming down. And what we actually do is we have another set of trapdoors in the middle, so we'll do 2 observers going down and up for the bottom bits. I'll try and angle these actually so you can see the arrows, because that'll make things a lot easier. That still didn't work. Where are the arrows? Are they just fixed? Oh, it doesn't matter what way you face. The arrows are always on the side. That's so annoying. Why don't observers just have arrows on every side? That's infuriating. Right, I guess we'll need some labelling. Okay, so again we do 2 from the trapdoors. The first one is down, the other ones are up. Then we do another set of trapdoors. And then we do the same pattern up to the next floor. Like that. And then every floor we go up, the amount of observers aiming down goes across by 1. So on this floor, only the first one is aiming down. But on the next floor, the second set of observers will also be aiming down, because we're now on the second floor here. So any one above to get to here will aim observers down to set this trapdoor off and set the piston off to pull us down to there. But then for the other ones, if I press this, I'm going up to 3rd floor, up to 4th floor, up to 5th floor. I explain this a bit more in the other videos, so you can go watch those. But the point is, just the amount of observers aiming down goes up by 1 each floor. So now we have 2 sets aiming down, and then these last 3 are aiming up with trapdoors in the middle. So I guess this is how we're going to differentiate them as well. So first 2 down, last ones are aiming up into what is now our 3rd floor's buttons. So we've got this on the 2nd floor. So next floor, we need 3 of them aiming down because we've gone up a floor. And then the last ones will be aiming up. So starting at the ones closest to here, which is the bottom, and the buttons further away, going to the top. So we'll put our trapdoors in the middle. And the observers are like this. So you just continue this pattern. So for me, on my last one, I have 4 aiming down, and the last one will be aiming up. And that's just to do with getting the signals to the right place. So it's now like that. Okay, so they're the patterns of observers you have. Obviously it's a bit confusing, but you've got to remember that where the floors are, so every time you get to a floor, you add another set of observers going down. So these are where the floors are. Like this. Right, and the reason we use trapdoors is just so we can take observers out the back to activate other things. So the way I reset pistons is I do a 2-tick repeater from an observer signal. And that's because that will push the block out and pull it back very quickly. And what that means is if this magma block had been pushed out, so if it's like this, actually that was a bad design. There we go. So if the magma block is like this, pushed out, then if we set off this piston, it'll pull it in. But if it wasn't, then it'll just push it out and back in. So that's why it resets it. Either way, the magma block will get pulled back in. So you'll be free to go up or down to the floor you want. So that's how we reset these. Okay, so to set off those reset things, we go to the back. So we've got the buttons. Those go into observers and trapdoors. And they'll get set off. They'll send a signal to this observer, this trapdoor, and then all the way up until they get the floor, or all the way down until they get the floor they want. And what we do is everywhere we have a floor like this, where there's a set of trapdoors, you do observers coming out those. So this set of trapdoors here doesn't have a floor next to it, but this one does. So we skip this one and we go to this one, and then we do observers coming out of these trapdoors aiming to the back. So again, it's every other set, so not these ones. Next one up, observers aiming out the back. Skip that one, and observers aiming out the back. And we don't do any at the top. And then just to make it as fast as possible, so if you have more than 15 floors, you're going to have to add some more redstone stuff, but as long as it's under 15, then you can just do these blocks coming out of those observers, and we just do redstone dust along these blocks like this. So just blocks and redstone everywhere we've put these observers sticking out. Then we do a block diagonally aiming downwards towards the pistons, and we put a 2-tick repeater on that because it'll get powered by the redstone, and that's to just do the thing where it gets set off for 2 ticks to push the piston out in the way we want. I'm going to color code my floors, and the way we make this piston activate it is we just do it going into a block and then a block below by the piston with a redstone dust. So do this for every floor, and I'm just color coding which floor it is, and you don't need a reset for the top because there isn't any piston. So to actually activate the pistons to push out the magma block sort of quickly so that they stop us, so if we go over to our original thing, when I press the second floor, then the second floor, well, it was pulled out, so that wasn't a good example, it just pulled it back in. But anyway, in a normal situation, if I press this, there you go, it comes out and stops me, so it's permanently out until I either press it again, or I press a different floor which will reset the entire thing, right? So I'll push it out, and this block comes out and stops me because it's just spat out. So the way we do that is you find where the floor is. So again, I do mine bottom to top, starting at the one closest. So this is the bottom, and then this is the top. So this is first floor. So we go out the back on the first floor with a observer, but we have to do something different for the first couple of floors, because this repeater stays on for 4 ticks, it's on for 2 ticks and off, and then the piston gets activated as well. We have to add more observers to add delay. So you take an observer going sideways out of this one, then you do one going outwards, and then 2 going across into this block behind the piston to activate the piston. And that's just so the signal gets delayed enough for this reset repeater to turn on and off, and then the piston will push out the block. So next floor up, we move one across, we do the observer on the second trapdoor because it's now the second floor, and we just do an observer sticking out and 2 going across because that should be enough delay. So next floor up, we move across one more, so we're now at the third one, take our observers going out the back and make them stick out, go across into the block behind the piston. Fourth floor, we go to fourth trapdoor, as in relative to the water, do our observers sticking out, and we do this. So at this point you only need 5, it's like 4 or 5 observers for delay, so as soon as you get more than that, you can do tricks to speed up the signal, like having a trapdoor, so the signal instantly goes from this observer to this one instead of getting delayed by one in the middle. For maybe freeze, I'll just do observers for all of them, because it's just neat. And then we don't need any at the top, because the top doesn't have a piston. So actually this trapdoor here, this observer, these observers at the top, all a bit pointless. But you know, I was just keeping the pattern going. We'll test it works for starts. So this should be all the reset and all of the sort of floor circuits done. It's kind of a headache to get your head around, but in terms of resources and the complexity of it compared to other multi-floor elevators where you can choose the floors like this, it's very simple. So I'll press the 3rd floor. And there we go, we're stopped. And now if I press the 4th floor, it should turn off the 3rd floor one and push out the 4th floor. There we go. And then if I press 2nd floor, the 2nd floor is out. And if I press 1st floor, it should cancel that one and it should go down to the 1st floor. There we go. Again, if any of your water doesn't fill back in, that's probably because you didn't put water on the stairs at the sides, so make sure you've done that. And this is the kind of improved version that's now self-resetting. And because I've moved the buttons 1 block forward, it actually takes up the same footprint, as far as I know, as the old design. Alright, I've been Night. I'll see you in the next one. That hopefully won't just be another version of this elevator. I think this is it. This is the best version of it. See ya.